Senator Feinstein.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator, I don't think your microphone is turned on.
Well, it's on. It just needs to be up to you.
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record the transcript of a hearing that we held in the Judiciary Committee, the Subcommittee on Technology, Terrorism and Government Information on October 12th, 2001.
Without objection.
Thank you very much. And I want to read a brief part of that hearing transcript. We had before us Mrs. Mary Ryan, Ambassador Mary Ryan, the Assistant Secretary for Consular Affairs of the State Department. And I was asking her the question, essentially, why did 16 of the terrorists receive visas? And this is the answer. What went wrong is that we had no information on them whatsoever from law enforcement or from intelligence. And so they came in and applied for visas. They were interviewed and their stories were believed. I think, like most Americans, I was surprised at how much we learned about some of these terrorists in the immediate aftermath of September 11 atrocities. And the question in my own mind is why we didn't know that before September 11th. We were asked by the FBI to revoke visas on August 23rd of 2001, and we found that one person they had asked us to revoke we had no record of. Another had been refused. A third one, his visa had expired. And the fourth one, obviously we revoked, but he was already in the United States. We've had a struggle with the law enforcement and intelligence communities in getting information. We have tried in the Bureau of Consular Affairs, my whole time in Consular Affairs, to get access to the NCIC-3 information from the FBI. And we were constantly told we were not a law enforcement agency, and so they couldn't give it to us. Other agencies fear compromise of sources and methods. And there's much more in this along that line. But more than a year ago, the USA Patriot Act was passed, and one section of that act sought to address two concerns by directing the Attorney General and the Director of Central Intelligence to establish training programs for state and local officials, which would, one, allow them to effectively identify foreign intelligence they may come upon and get it to the right people, and two, to be effective consumers of intelligence. My question is for the non-federal members of the panel, beginning with the distinguished commissioner. The law establishing these programs is now more than a year old. Has anyone, either from the Department of Justice or the intelligence community, approached your agencies offering training? Has there been any concrete results that you have seen of this initiative?
The short answer is no. We have not been, no one's briefed us on training or offered it, and frankly, we haven't seen much of a difference since this has been passed.
Anybody else, non-federal agency?
Senator, I'd want to make a general observation.
Governor, certainly.
In our commission report, our third report, we make reference to some survey results, and the purpose of our survey, which was over to over 1,000 state and local agencies across the United States, we asked questions about federal programs, whether they were aware of them, were they effective, were they efficient, and we have produced that data into our reports to make it available to the Congress. And the answer is, generally speaking, it's mixed. Sometimes people know about the programs, participate in them, and find them effective. Very frequently, they do not.
Now, also pursuant to the Enhanced Border Security and Visa Entry Reform Act, which is also now passed for a substantial period of time, the Act required the following: that the INS fully integrate all data systems and databases maintained by the service, and that the fully integrated system be a component of an interoperable data system to be used by all relevant federal agencies in detecting and deterring the entry of foreign terrorists. Mr. Greene, what steps has the INS taken to upgrade and integrate the agency's technology systems to comply with the new federal requirements under the Border Security Act?
Senator, I know that there is a project underway to meet the requirements of that act. I am not current as to the status of that project, but I would be happy to brief you or your staff when we get that information to you.
Can you give us any estimate of how far along you are?
I'm just not aware of that particular area, so I will get that back to you as soon as I can.
Are you aware of any of the obstacles to ensuring that all INS officers at the ports of entry and district personnel in the interior, any obstacles to them having the right hardware, software, and sufficient training?
My understanding of the problem is that INS information systems, as you know, grew like mushrooms according to need over the last 20 years, and so we have distinct systems to deal with distinct program mission requirements. Putting that together is a software problem, and that's what the project is about. Meanwhile, in terms of the integrated lookout system, IBIS, which I mentioned to you earlier, that's now accessible to all inspectors at ports of entry, as well as to all of our officers in the interior offices. Is even being used as NAILS is being used at the LESC as a screening process. But in terms of being able to integrate every single system, that's a long-term project, and I'm just not. I don't want to go too far down the road giving you information about it without making sure that I know what I'm talking about. So let me get back to you on that, please.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.